Clemson's just that much better. Mark Rogers TV with instant analysis of the Palmetto State rivalry game between Clemson and South Carolina. Anticipated to be a little bit closer than it's been in the last few years. Clemson routing South Carolina, just completely annihilating the Gamecocks 56-7 last year. Well, the Gamecocks are so much better this year. 3-9 2 years ago. Much improved under Will Muschamp last year with 6 wins in 13 games, and then coming into this game at 8-3. And despite what we've seen tonight, South Carolina is much better. South Carolina is a stronger, faster, more talented football team with a deeper roster. But Clemson is ready to compete for an ACC championship game next week, and then for a college football playoff championship again. They're that good. They're just really that good. How good is Clemson compared to South Carolina? The score was 27-0 in the third quarter, and Clemson was trying to not give up, but basically running very vanilla offense. Basically the zone read, Austin Bryant or Kelly Bryant, either giving Austin Bryant, of course, the great defensive end, Kelly Bryant either giving the ball to Travis Etienne most of the time in the backfield at that point, or Tavian Feaster, or just keep it himself. Clemson was this good. Even though South Carolina knew it was coming each and every play, either one of those two options, they couldn't stop anything. Clemson ran the ball down their throats for a touchdown. Even on a 4th and 7 play, direct snap to Bryant, he took off left end, and it was that well blocked by the Clemson offensive line that Bryant takes off for a 10-yard gain on 4th and 7, just trying to basically not give up, but run vanilla offense to run the clock and get out of there and not embarrass South Carolina. That's how good the Tigers are. Leading right now 34-3, 10 minutes left in the game. And so this is really instant analysis. No reason to wait on this one. So from the get-go, Clemson, the much better team, but South Carolina stopped the Tigers on the first 3 or 4 possessions. There was a huge difference in just punt coverage between these two teams. So consider Hunter Renfro, who was just making ridiculous plays and showing just his ability, his instincts, his gamesmanship. So on one particular play, South Carolina's punting, and Hunter Renfro takes off to the other side of the field and draws the South Carolina coverage. Therefore, they failed to down the punt at the 1-yard line. The ball hit almost perfectly and just trickled into the end zone. Should have been stopped at the 1-yard line. This happened on 2 other occasions where South Carolina's punt coverage team was not good enough to get down the field, track the football, ignore the Clemson return man who wasn't close to the football, and down the ball inside the 5-yard line. The South Carolina punter, Charlton, did an outstanding job of punting, but they just didn't follow through on the assignment and the execution to down the football inside the 5. And in that one particular play, Hunter Renfro completely duped them. All right, Ryan Carter duped Jake Bentley. The first big mistake of the game, the first big play of the game. Again, it was Clemson executing in the punt game, in which they downed the punt at the South Carolina 1-yard line, and so Bentley and company had to operate from its own 1 against that defense. I will call it the best defensive line in the country. Ohio State's exceptional, maybe more talented, certainly deeper. Miami's really good. Alabama, of course. Auburn we saw tonight and against Georgia. But right now, based on what I've seen, I believe Clemson in its front 4, the 4 starting players, is slightly better than everyone else and the best. And South Carolina's offensive line's been playing well. They had injuries. They had issues up there on the front line the first 7 games of the season, and starting different lineups each and every game. Over the last 5 games, they got their guys back, and South Carolina's offensive line has played much better and has had the same lineup out there for the past 5 games, but they could not deal with this front. And in the play that basically changed the game, because it's the only play that mattered, because Clemson was so dominant after this one play, and the teams were basically even at this point through the first quarter with about 2 to 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Jake Bentley expected Brian Edwards to sit down in the flat and stop the route, but Edwards ran the fade. And these two players have been playing football for the last 2 years together, and Edwards is Bentley's deep threat, so they should be on the same page. Edwards goes, Bentley throws it short. Ryan Carter picks it off for one of the easiest pick sixes you will ever see. Clemson went up 7-0 right there. And really, what can you say after that? South Carolina not composed in this game. There was one particular series in which Rashad Felton had an awful pass interference in which he held on to the receiver from the time he left the line of scrimmage. And then Sky Moore, uncharacteristically, very smart football player, not just a talented leader of this defense, but a smart player, had an awful unsportsmanlike, unnecessary roughness penalty out of bounds on Kelly Bryant that extended the drive and the touchdown there. You got to watch T. Higgins. He is most likely the next best of the great group of Clemson wide receivers in the line of Martavis Bryant, Sammy Watkins, and Mike Williams. Better than Artavis Scott, who was more the slot guy catching the underneath stuff. T. Higgins right now, 3 catches for 84 yards, but it was the manner in which he caught the ball so effortlessly. Runs with a big stride, great stride. Just T. Higgins. Yes, look out for him, and he may be key to Clemson's run down the stretch and needing big plays, something we didn't see out of this offense in the passing game early in the season. It looks like Kelly Bryant, familiar with the receivers, is ready to take that next step. He's really had an outstanding game to date with 285 yards with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter for the Clemson Tigers. Another play to see right here, Hunter Renfro, with the game at 20-0, catches a pass out in the right flat, and he makes 5 guys miss, and the first guy grabbed his face mask. So, you know, Hunter Renfro, every guy in the field's bigger, stronger, and probably faster than him almost. And the very first defender that he comes in contact with grabs his face mask and pulls him down, and he still spins away, beats 5 defenders, and takes it to the house, 50-some yards for the touchdown that made it 27-0. There you go. That's pretty much what I had right there. There was a touchdown play before that where Hunter Renfro got free, and this again shows his genius in the passing game. I couldn't read my writing there. My apologies. Kelly Bryant flushed from the pocket, didn't panic, flushed from the pocket, extends the play, buys time, waits for Renfro to find some space. He's in contact with the defender. They catch eyes. They know what they're doing. They're in complete sync with one another. Renfro breaks off the defender. Bryant shoots him the pass for the touchdown. Renfro went 10 consecutive games without scoring. It almost seems not possible. But in the big games, as we've seen in the previous 2 national championship games, he will come through, and 2 big catches tonight. Otherwise, Clemson's defensive front, again, Farrell, Bryant, Wilkins, Lawrence, they're exceptional. They have dominated this game, and it's a South Carolina running game with A.J. Turner and Tyson Williams that has been rather potent through the second half of the season. So South Carolina hopefully doesn't get crushed from this game psychologically. They certainly have plenty of time to recover for a bowl game, because at 8-4, this is a much improved football team, but just not ready for this game. This is the type of game that they needed to break exactly their way. And once they started to have breakdowns in special teams and the Ryan Carter pick 6, you knew that Clemson was off and running, and South Carolina a bit demoralized at that point. Didn't quit, as Will Muschamp accused his team of doing in the 56-7 game last year, but not ready for this one. 34-3 Clemson, 10 minutes left, and Clemson will move on to the ACC championship game against Miami. I've seen the odds at about 73% in terms of power index, giving Clemson a 73% chance of beating Miami. That looks about right to me. I think the Hurricanes do have a chance in this game, do have a good shot, but Clemson right now, the better team top to bottom. Running it, throwing it, offensive line, defensive line, secondary play. heads-up play in the special teams. Everything's tight. Everything's looking good, at least on this week against South Carolina. Would like to hear what you have to say about Clemson, South Carolina, all of college football. I try to respond to as many comments as possible. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel right here at Mark Rogers TV. You can see from the videos that we get to as many teams and big matchups as possible. We'll be all over it this week, preparing you for championship weekend in all the major conferences and also the Group of Five as well. We'll catch you next time. I appreciate your support right here on Mark Rogers TV.